In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses Andrew Tate, who has gained popularity online for his provocative statements and lifestyle. Shapiro points out that Tate is a con artist and a grifter who manipulates his audience by promoting false and harmful ideas while presenting himself as a rebel against societal norms. Shapiro explains that Tate plays a game of making transgressive statements where he mixes true and false ideas to provoke reactions from his audience. Tate often challenges well-established truths and promotes harmful ideologies, such as the idea that hard work is unnecessary for success or that treating women poorly is a sign of dominance. By presenting these ideas as rebellious and taboo, Tate creates a persona of a maverick who is above societal norms. One of the key themes in Tate's rhetoric is his attack on the family and traditional values. Shapiro highlights how Tate undermines the importance of marriage and family by promoting polyamory and denigrating the role of loyalty and commitment in relationships. Tate's promotion of promiscuity and disregard for the stability provided by traditional family structures reflects his desire to dismantle the foundations of society. Shapiro discusses Tate's controversial statements about Western civilization and white men. Tate suggests that white men are being replaced because they are not having enough children, attributing this decline to women's desire for social media validation over motherhood. By framing the issue in racial terms and attacking white men for their perceived lack of control over women, Tate stirs up racial tensions and promotes a divisive narrative. Shapiro points out how Tate uses misdirection and gaslighting to deflect criticism and avoid accountability for his harmful ideas. When faced with backlash for his inflammatory statements, Tate shifts the focus to irrelevant arguments about deportation and racial identity, distracting from the real issues at hand. By manipulating the conversation and evading responsibility, Tate continues to deceive his audience and perpetuate his harmful ideologies. Shapiro exposes Tate's history of grifting and scams, highlighting how he has made millions of dollars through unethical practices in the sex industry and online businesses. He highlights Tate's background as a former pimp and webcam business owner, where he groomed women to perform on camera for profit. Tate openly admits to using sex as a tool to manipulate women into working for him, showcasing a disturbing lack of respect for women and their autonomy. Tate's Hustlers University is exposed as a scam, promising easy wealth and success to vulnerable individuals who are looking for shortcuts. Shapiro emphasizes that true success requires hard work, dedication, and ethical behavior, rather than falling for get-rich-quick schemes like the ones Tate promotes. He debunks Tate's claims of immense wealth, revealing that Tate's assets are far less impressive than he portrays them to be. Despite presenting himself as a traditionalist and a defender of virtue, Tate's actions and statements reveal his true motives of greed and exploitation. By preying on vulnerable individuals and promoting destructive ideologies, Tate prioritizes his own financial gain over the well-being of others. The podcast delves into the issue of bias at NPR, focusing on the suspension of senior editor Uri Berliner for speaking out against the network's progressive agenda. Shapiro criticizes NPR for punishing Berliner instead of addressing the underlying issue of bias within the organization. He also questions the appointment of Catherine Mayer as NPR's new chief executive, citing her history of making controversial statements on social media. Shapiro reads excerpts of Maher's tweets, which reflect a left-leaning perspective and raise concerns about her ability to lead a supposedly unbiased news outlet. Maher's tweets touch on topics such as climate change, politics, and gender representation, showcasing her personal views that may conflict with NPR's commitment to impartial reporting. Shapiro highlights the dire situation in Ukraine, where the lack of Western support has left the country struggling to defend itself against Russian aggression. He emphasizes the importance of providing aid to Ukraine to prevent further destabilization in the region and to deter Russian expansionism. He criticizes the Biden administration's approach to foreign policy, particularly in its dealings with Israel and Iran. He points out the lack of strong leadership and the failure to stand up to authoritarian regimes, which has led to increased tensions and conflicts around the world. Shapiro discusses the internal conflicts within the Republican Party, particularly regarding the speakership in the House of Representatives. He criticizes the use of procedural tactics to block legislative action and calls for unity and strong leadership to advance the party's agenda. Shapiro emphasizes the importance of free speech and the need to protect it from censorship and suppression. He highlights the case of Google employees protesting against the company's business dealings with Israel and calls for a robust defense of free expression in all areas of society.